Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Terror Talks. I'm your host, Jeremy.
And I'm Ansley.
And we are here on another fantastic episode. First off, before we even get into anything, we want to first apologize for not being as up to date on our haunted episodes. We did get put off by about a week in terms of releasing episodes and whatnot. We were hoping to get them out sooner, but as many of you know, we had the devastating effects of Hurricane Helene that just absolutely devastated the southeast portion of the country, and unfortunately we were right there within that devastation, so we did not visit some haunts for a week. We did not get to record any episodes or edit any episodes for that matter. Rather, we focused on hurricane relief efforts, and we've got some other opportunities for that coming up as well where that is concerned. So be on the lookout on our social medias and whatnot, and we will tell you all about some really awesome ideas and ways that we're going to be reaching out, helping those in our community that need it right now during this very just rocky time. But we don't want to bring the mood down too much. We want to prevail and, be able to move forward with a strong-willed spirit, and that is exactly what we are going to do. We are finally able to get back out on the road and check out some really cool haunted houses this weekend, so that is exactly what we are here to do, to move forward with our goal of hitting 31 haunts this haunt season, and I think we're going to make it happen. So, on this very special episode of the Terror Talks, we are going to have 5 different haunts that we're going to be talking about. They're all going to be looped together in this awesome episode. It's a big one for you, so buckle up. We've got a lot of fun stuff to talk about on this one.
This is Professor Raymond Noble, Department of Ancient History, log entry number 2. I believe I am moving to distant times.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Well, sometimes that is better.
I like to dissect girls. I'm utterly insane.
Have you checked the children?
Michael!
Beware the stare of Mary Shaw.
Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
I myself am strange and unusual.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
I just can't take no pleasure in killing.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
You want to know what happens to an eyeball when it gets punctured?
7 days.
The juice is loose.
Unpleasant dream.
So, first haunt of the night that we got to visit was Hall of Horrors, located in Cayce, South Carolina. So this is a really interesting haunt that, coming upon it, you would almost think this is going to be sort of a backyard sort of situation, but it is anything but that.
Yeah, the sets are like HHN quality, and all of the people that make this happen are volunteers.
We did not know that when we arrived. We were told that by the front ticket person, and we were like, oh my gosh, like that is such a cool thing that everyone here is volunteering their time and their talents to go towards an awesome organization.
And y'all know me, I love little backyard haunts and like little, basically family haunts. They are my bread and butter. I absolutely love them. And a lot of times when you get haunts like that, if the word volunteer is included, sometimes that comes with, oh, well, I'm just a volunteer, so I'm not going to go all out and give these people what they paid for, or, oh, well, it doesn't matter if I give booze or whatever because, I'm just volunteering. It's not a big deal. But everybody that we came across for this haunt cared a lot about what they did. And you could tell it in the acting and in the market aspect, like buying your tickets and everything. And they were very upfront about, we're doing this for a good cause, and we really hope you love it. And as somebody who is very set driven, like I absolutely love would think that you just walked into, like, a haunted house that had millions of dollars. But they do this out of the goodness of their hearts, and they come out of pocket for this. And there is no scrimping on set work. Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, no. From the minute you walk in, this was the first time I've been in several years, and they had this really cool barn facade from the minute that you get there that just really sets this scene and this theme, so you know exactly what we're walking into, what we're going to be getting ourselves into. And then from the minute you get inside, it gets even more intense. Like, they had structures in there that were up to the ceiling of this warehouse. Because, I mean, it really isn't just a small little warehouse in Cayce, South Carolina. And it's nothing fancy. It's not like some big shipping facility or anything like that. But rather, it's just this small, like, could literally be a warehouse for, I don't know, like, fixing cars or something. It's not huge by any... A garage. Okay, fine. But it's not huge by any stretch of the imagination at all. And yet, it allows them to do everything that they want to do and are able to do. I remember going several years ago and saying, I wish they could utilize more of this space. And in moving their queue line outside, which is what they did this year, they were able to utilize more space. And you could tell where that space was utilized. Now, that being said, I think there is some, like, places in there where I could even see it still going a little bit further back. But, I mean, with the space that they had, you felt like it was very claustrophobic, very, like, unnerving being, you know, in these tight, close corners. The actors were able to get very, very close to you, you know, jump out from their holes and whatnot, and it made it work. Now, speaking of the actors, obviously, with it being volunteer only, that's going to run into some challenges, because, you know, some people are, I won't say greedy, but I mean, you know, it costs money to make this happen, and, you know, people value their time and such, so I realize that it's probably very difficult to find enough actors to staff a haunt like this. I will say that there was definitely a few dead spaces in there where, you know, there were no actors. But the ones that were there absolutely gave it their all. I don't think anybody gave less than 100%. Like, they were just going, as we say, balls to the wall. Like, it was absolutely intense, and, you know, they were, you could tell everyone was creating their own stories with their characters. It wasn't like, oh, okay, you're in a cemetery, go, boo, get out. You didn't get that, and if you did, they were warranted.
To be fair, I only heard one boo, and that was from a victim. Now, I understand, hey, not all victims can go, oh, help me, he's coming to get me, oh no. Because if we all did that, then it'd be like, you know, it would be one of those things where I hear it so often, it's kind of boring. It makes me want to get out of that scene, and not because I'm scared. It's more because I'm annoyed because I spent the money for this and you're going to give me a boo.
Right.
And I didn't say this earlier, but we all know Jeremy loves his warehouse haunted houses, but he always has an issue with being able to see the roof, because he always says it takes you out of the scene.
Yes.
They came up with a very clever way to take care of that problem, which was take fog machines and set them up higher than your scenes so that you already have the fog rising, and it's a lot harder to see the roof area, like the exposed beams and stuff that you get when you're in a warehouse. And I was extremely proud of that.
Yes, and that awesome, with the way that the fog was being used, that allowed for some really, really cool moments in terms of lighting as well. Because you could tell, like, some of the things they did in there, and, like, the lighting design, usually when you go to a haunt, you expect it to be pretty professional lighting, like, you know, somebody who maybe has a background in theater design of lighting or film design, or, some art form that allows you to know the tricks of the trade, so to speak. But honestly, like, this was professional level. Like, they had, this is me geeking out here a little bit, they had the angles of where you could put that light to create this ray on this, to create this ambiance and this look. One of the coolest things, and hopefully this doesn't really give anything away, I don't think it does, but one of the first scenes you go in, they create this illusion that you're outside. And they do that, obviously, using strobe lights. And with the strobe lights mixed with the fog and some really neat sound tricks, too, it feels like you're in the middle of a thunderstorm. And that, paired with the awesome set work and the scenery around you, you would have thought you stepped outside of the building and like you were walking into some old town. Unless you looked really closely at where these the lighting fixtures and such were, you would have no unearthly idea that you were actually still just hanging out in a warehouse in the middle of Cayce, South Carolina. So I applaud y'all for being able to come up with those tricks to master those things. And one of the things we were told, which I absolutely love this, and I applaud any haunt that gets to do this, and if you are a haunt owner and you haven't gotten to do this, I highly encourage it. One of the workers told us that the owners and the team every year go down to St. Louis and attend one of our favorite haunters conventions ever called Trans World. And so they learn down there and they pick up on things. And you can tell, like, they, like, go in there with their, like, a notebook and treat this like a school seminar, because they're taking something away from it every single time they go. Like, honestly, I get that this haunt is for charity and it's just a little sort of small thing. It's for fun for them sort of deal. This haunt could be absolutely freaking huge professional level. Like, they could be charging so much more than they already are. And that's the thing is, what, we paid a little bit more than the average. Yeah, we paid for the Fast Pass, which is $30 for Fast Pass, but a general admission is $15.
And there was still a crowd.
Yeah, and
that's why we paid for the Fast Pass, but even though, like, honestly, dare I say it, I probably would have paid for the Fast Pass anyway, even if the crowd wasn't as big, just to be able to give them that little bit of extra money.
Yeah.
Because what they're doing is so important. They are helping people in need using something that everybody loves. And considering how often teenagers love to go to haunted houses, it is a great way to make money, and I really do applaud them for taking something that you wouldn't really think of as a fundraiser and making it a fundraiser to help people.
And a very successful fundraiser at that, because
definitely.
How much did he say they made last year? Do we remember?
I did not hear that part of the conversation. I was trying to, like, look for photo opportunities and stuff, or get them some press.
Well, whatever. It was a very high number, like in the, maybe 50,000 or something like that. It was a very, very high number, which for charging as little as you charge, and to be able to walk away and say you made that, that's absolutely incredible to us,
and
to me.
To be able to say that you made that money and not have cheated somebody, basically, by having a shitty haunt.
Right.
Because that was a really good haunt, and it was worth every single dime that we paid.
Yes, absolutely. Like, I would love, obviously the money they take is going into this amazing cause. I wish there was a way to give them, somehow get them more money, to be able to benefit the cause, but also even put more into that haunt so that they could make it, absolutely huge. Because, like I said, they could be charging even more. Like, I would, honestly, I'd pay $20, $25 just for general admission to that. I mean, granted, the length for me is still a little bit of an issue, because, I mean, we got through it really quick. I think we were in and out in like 10-ish minutes.
Which technically is a good thing. Well, a good problem for us to have, at least for tonight.
Right.
Because we're trying to hit so many haunts.
Correct. But like on an average night, the quality is really something that I would go up to someplace like Netherworld, Woods of Terror, Mad World, Nightmare Dungeon, Aatrox Factory. These big haunted houses that are, they boast the Hollywood movie quality. And by absolutely no means am I saying that they do not have that. They have that at these haunts too.
They definitely do.
But this haunt, walking into it, they have it too. And they're a small place outside of Columbia, South Carolina. I mean, outside of a big college town. And if it was a little bit bigger, they could absolutely make a fortune and really do some magic with this place. But even so, they've been doing it for 40 years. And to be able to, 40 years, they're still here, and they've been doing it this same way for that long, that's saying something. Obviously, the formula is working.
And one of the things that I noticed while we were going through is the amount of creativity. There was things that I have seen in everyday life turned into something scary. My mother is a hairdresser, and I'm not going to say too much, but, there is certain scenes that warrant like a severed head. I saw a couple of the practice dummies that I saw that my mother had for when she was in cosmetology school. And had I not known to look for that, like going through here and just looking at them and immediately knowing what it was, they dressed it up so well that had I not already known the basic structure of that thing, I would have thought it was a piece of, like, something that they bought at a haunt shop or something, or like Transworld, or, like Spirit of Halloween, or, something that specializes in haunt props.
Right.
And I was so incredibly proud. There was the set work. There was trees and stuff made with spray foam. And if you did not actually look at it, and you know me, I helped, like, build haunted houses. Well, I kind of helped with our home haunt a little bit here and there. And so I know some of the creative things that you can do, and I absolutely love homemade Halloween decorations and stuff, as long as they're done really well. I would have never thought to use spray foam on a tree.
Yeah.
And it actually does give a very tree-like texture. And I am very, very proud of the creativity that this haunt has showed. Like, I swear to you, I think the vines in that one scene, I'm pretty sure, if I looked at them closely enough as I was walking by, they looked like butcher paper that they took and glued together and textured to look like those vines. It was so impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Everything they did was absolutely very impressive. No negative remarks. Like I said, the only thing is I just wish there could have been more actors in there. But apart from that, really, really a stand-up haunt. One that needs to be seen. Like, you need to go visit them. Give them your money.
Please do. Please.
And if you don't, we will hunt you down and say, what the hell is wrong with you? Okay, we won't hunt you down. I'm not allowed to do that.
I mean, at the end of the day, it is your choice. But they are helping a very, very deserving cause. And you're going to have a great time.
Yes.
So it's worth it.
You absolutely will have a wonderful time with these people. And you could tell that they absolutely have a great time doing what they do. Like, these are the most, like, down-to-earth people I've ever met. They, like, literally, just not to, harken back on, the devastation and sad gloom and doom stuff we've got going on right now. But literally we were talking to the lady at the ticket booth, and, she asked us, well, where are y'all from? And we told her, we're from Augusta, Georgia. Instantly knew, like, you saw it on her face, like, oh my gosh, like, how are y'all doing down there? Are y'all okay? And, like, didn't miss a beat, was ready to find out, like, how are things down there? What can we do? Anything. And, told us that immediately they've been praying for us and that she's been praying for us. And, I mean, whether you're religious or not, that still means the absolute freaking world to us. And obviously we are 110% grateful for all of those prayers, and we're very grateful to still be here and be able to do what we love, because there's definitely some not so fortunate right now. And to see that love and that just affection for people, that meant the absolute world to me. And then she told us that they delivered stuff, or tried to deliver stuff to other places, some gas, water. I was like, oh my gosh, like, how have we found the nicest group of humans in the world? Like, even though it was just one person we were speaking to, it was absolutely insane, absolutely amazing. So you have to check out this haunt for yourself. You need to go. 110% recommendation. What do we have in terms of rating for them?
I'm going to give them a 5. That's the first 5 I've given all year.
Yep.
So far.
I have to agree. I'm going to give them a 5. Straight up. Even though there's the little issue of the actors, I can't hold that against them, because, like I said,
it's a volunteership, and it's really hard to find people to act.
Right.
Even when you pay people.
Right. And
because people, they stop and think, oh, I can't do that. I don't know how to be scary. And then you have people like me that were just kind of thrown into it. Because when I first started, I had no experience at all with acting in general. Jeremy could have jumped in and did fine, because he did stage work, he did plays, he did musicals. He had that experience in acting. I didn't. And they threw me into a room and they were like, here's your costume, here's your area, have fun. And that is very daunting for a lot of people. So I understand not being able to get volunteers or just actors in general, even if you are paying them. So with that, I'm gonna have to disagree with you, because I understand what.
I'm not arguing or saying it's a bad thing. I'm just that's my only thing, is I wish there were more actors in there. But I get it. I'm not arguing that. But I still give them a 5 regardless. Like, there's no question in my mind. So 5 out of 5. So that gives this particular haunt, Hall of Horrors, located in Cayce, South Carolina. Drum roll, please. 5 screams. Hall of Horrors is a 5 screams rated haunted attraction by the Terror Talks on our scream scale. Be sure to go check them out this haunt season. You definitely want to check it out. You will be so incredibly glad that you did. And be sure to let them know that the Terror Talks did, in fact, send you there.
Oh, shit! I'm about to say, the design work is, like, flawless in here. Oh, wow. That was cool. Oh my God, look at that. Look at that. Awesome. That is incredible.
Hello, everyone. Oh, you all know that real good old project.
Wow. This is like Horror Nights level detail. Yeah. Like, I'm really impressed with this. Hey, what we got here, huh? Hey, honey, we got gas! Put the fire at the stove! I'm sure my wife would love to cook y'all up dinner! Heck yeah! Woo!
this first haunt. We've got to move on to the second haunt, and we'll be getting there very shortly. Stick around, guys. Hey guys, it's time for our second haunted attraction of the evening, Dark Castle Haunted Attraction, located in Elgin, South Carolina. This is one of those attractions that really is kind of like, it's unlike anything you will ever see anywhere else. It has some really, really neat things about it. Wow, where do we even start? This isn't just your typical haunted attraction. This is a haunted show, really, is the best way to put it. It's kind of like interactive theater, which I absolutely love. Because me being a theater nerd, that really, hits home for me. And we just found out, this is our second haunt tonight, and we just found out everybody here is volunteer. Which is like, holy shit. That's incredible that you have all these volunteers doing this haunt. That's really insane to when you think about it. But yeah. So, Dark Castle, this was my second time. This was Ansley's first time. I'll let Ansley sort of take the reins here.
I absolutely loved it. It was very photogenic, and I'm usually the one that takes at least all of the still photos for the most part, and our photo editor. And I'm going to have a great time editing these photos. I told Jeremy right before we started recording that it was kind of like the
medieval times.
The medieval times of haunted attractions. I'll be honest, I have never even been through a guided tour. Jeremy has this little thing that he used to do as a kid where he would put on these haunted houses and he would guide you through and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no place does that. Because I had never seen them do that. I really had never even heard of it, if I'm being honest. And it was very interesting. In a very good way. You get all these cool interactive scenes. And technically there's 3 quote-unquote haunted houses. You get your main one where you go through all of these different sets and these different rooms, and you see some horror icons, even some that you forgot about. There was some that I was pointing out to Jeremy that I was like, oh my gosh, this is this. And I'm not going to spoil the surprise because, if I spoil the surprise, then, spoiler alerts. And I'm not one for doing that. So, I'm not going to tell you, some of the ones that were in there. Even though I really want to, I was very excited about some of them. Because some of them were movies that I watched as a kid that scared the daylights out of me. Scared the absolute shit out of me. As, a little kid. We had some fun little interactive things where they pretty much pick somebody out of the group. And that was just the first haunt. And then the second one was more interactive for the entire group. And I will say this part because I just thought it was really funny. We ended up in a group with 3 teenagers and 2 other adults. So there was a good many of us. I don't think the other 2 adults were with us with this one, were they?
No, they weren't with us for the zombie laser tag thing.
Yeah. And they have a whole storyline about the zombies working and everything. And they give you laser tag blasters and everything. And they walk you through the set. Well, there's this one piece where you kind of get locked in these cages to keep you safe, quote unquote. And there's 2 different cages. And I got separated from the group and ended up in a cage alone.
Yeah. Even though the guy said go straight back, and everyone went straight back but Ansley. She went to the other zombie safe zone, and I ran straight into the one straight back with these 3, I think they were college students. I think they were teenagers, but 3 college students, and it was just like, well, damn. What the hell?
Well, I will say if I would have been trapped in there, I would have been comfortable. and I wouldn't have had to sit on anybody.
That is true.
So, and it was all well and good until my blaster stopped working at the very end when all of the zombies came after us.
I mean, I was doing fine. I will say that ending was absolutely fucking so much fun.
It was dramatic. It was great.
Like, so the technology they use is actually really innovative. I've only seen it like a handful of times implemented in haunted houses and laser tag things. And they have it so, like, the zombies, they have this thing on their chest that it'll count down. So when you shoot them, it'll blast down. So it's like their life going down. It's like a video game. And we get to the end of this, and I mean, obviously it's a zombie thing. It's an outbreak sort of thing. So at some point, naturally, they're going to start coming from everywhere. They're going to be, like, you know, overrunning you. And I don't think that gives anything away because it's still the experience of it. Well, the 3 teenagers in the group, or college students, whoever, our 3 additional add-ons were, at first, they let us sort of lead the group every time. Well, then, in this experience, they ended up somehow getting up in the front. And so they were just, like, hauling ass to get out at the end, like, running down this long hallway. All the zombies are coming from all sides. Ansley's at the back shooting zombies. Well, then, at some point, Ansley passes me, and they're all just running because Ansley's gun stops working. And so I'm the only one who's bothering to shoot now, and it was like, holy shit.
Not by choice, like I didn't stop shooting by choice.
Right, but it was just like, this is traumatic, I'm gonna die, like, and I'm like, freaking like, pew, 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 shooting every single thing that came near me. Like, I straight up was like Wild West fucking...
Saved my life, guys. He does love me.
I didn't save her life, we probably would have died, but, like, even to the very, like, last possible second, like, going out the door, like, everybody else is dropping their guns in the basket for them to collect, and my ass literally is, like, still walking backwards, like, pew, 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 firing every last bullet I can. So cool.
It was a lot of fun until my gun stopped working. Then I had to rely on Jeremy's aim, and that's a scary thought.
Yeah, but you know what? I killed a lot of them.
You did. You saved my life.
Nope.
I'm eternally grateful.
Good. It might be the last time.
Yeah, probably.
But this haunt is just so cool. Like, the interactive element. So, you know, she mentioned the, you know, calling out parts of the group. This poor girl in our group, she and I'm guessing it was her friend's boyfriend were getting the hell roasted out of them the whole time, and she was not helping her case at all because she's freaking running like a little chicken shit the whole time. Shout out to you, girl. Like, if you're out there, like, shout out. You made it through, but man, they were not holding back from her. They making blonde jokes on her, redheaded jokes, everything you could think of. So the thing about this haunt that you need to understand before you go to it, if you are easily offended,
don't go there.
Don't do it. Like that, and they say that too. Like, they have it posted outside their gate. If you are going to be easily offended by getting picked on or singled out, anything like that,
cuss words.
Cuss words are a big one. This is the first haunt I've ever been to. Well, I won't say the first one I've ever been to. One of the first I've ever been to where they are so open and they will just cuss up a storm like you are...
Dark humor, dirty jokes.
Yeah, it in a way, it's the House of 1,000 Corpses, but clean. Like, it's not nearly as gory.
It's a little bit PG-13, but in terms of language, no.
It's like if Rob Zombie came down here, wanted to make a haunted house, and they told him, hey, Rob, here's the thing. You can do it, but you've got to take the gore out of it, because it wasn't super, super gory.
The trail itself was.
It had some moments. It wasn't too bad. But in terms of gore and such, it wasn't super bad, but it so much fun. So much fun. Some really cool moments throughout both the... You have 3 attractions. You've got the haunted house, which is the main haunt. Then you got the zombie attraction. Then you have the haunted trail. And, like, every scene in each of them is so well thought out. Like, you've got actors with live mics on. And that, for me, like, that right there is always a cool highlight for me, is when you have actors with live mics interacting with you.
And some that were loud enough to not even need them.
Right. For example, our awesome guide, Flatulent the Ass Clown. Great fucking name, by the way. Like, I want to give a shout out to him, because he has been there every year when I have gone to this haunt. And he is always so great. He is always so fun. And he's always leading these groups. Like, it's so funny, because there are little moments that I've heard 1,000 times that I hear them every time when I go, and he has kept those little moments in there, and it's just like, that's iconic. I don't think this gives too much away, but he makes it a point of, one of his rules is, if you see me running, you better put asses to elbows, because something ain't supposed to be out here. And that's one of the greatest rules ever, because you don't hear that too often, but with a guided tour, it makes perfect sense. Because it's like, yeah, if the guide is running, something ain't right. But, I mean, I don't even know where to go from here. It's like the interaction, the actors, they're so good at what they do. I will say there are some portions where the set could be a little bit more than what it is. I think there are some places where the set can be really good, and other parts where it could be more, but it definitely is good for what it is.
Yeah. I will say, in the beginning, when you go into that one little room, they could make it a little bit more obvious of what you need to do, because you and I were trying to turn the corner and go down the hall, but I mean, we would have been running over the smoke machine.
Oh yeah,
but it's not like you could really see anything anyway.
Right, like they should. I get that there's that little alcove there so that the fog can funnel in. At the beginning of the trail, you literally get put in a hot box, and some cool shit happens. But while you're in there, if you're like, because it's so dark, you know, natural tendency, at least for us in haunts, is to find the wall and hug it. And in doing that, we ended up coming right to the fog machine and the glowing light, and it was like, wait, we can't go that way. There's something there. And it was like, oh, that's the technology that's making the haunt work right now. Shouldn't go that way. And so because of that, it's like, well, that'd be one thing. Maybe somehow find a way to box it off a little bit so that, you know, it is a little more apparent where you need to go, because that can be confusing.
Yeah. Like a grate or something that you can't pass through,
right?
But that can let the fog and the light through.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, other than that, you know, everything was really well done. Man, all I really want to talk about is just that awesome interactivity we got with it. Like, there's just so much with, like, we so seldom see that on haunts that it makes it all the more exciting that we get to go to a haunt that has that interactivity.
Yeah.
And that level. So I'm just kind of like, damn, I just want to talk about that so much more. There's so much more to it.
Well,
wow.
We don't want to give too much away because, for obvious reasons, we weren't allowed to do a walkthrough video where we actually take you along with us while we're traveling through, because they're really well lit sets and everything. So you would be able to see everything, and it would give so much away.
Right, and as the owner so eloquently put, why the fuck would I watch a walkthrough video, when I can go see the real thing, basically.
Or on the flip side of that, why would I go to this haunt if I can just watch the same thing online?
That's what I said, isn't it?
No, you said it the other way.
Oh, well, I meant it the way you said it. That was all I meant.
But it was a good sentiment, so we're going to leave it.
Yeah, fair. But, so we totally understand why, we're not allowed to film.
And we're cool with that.
I did get called out
yeah,
from the last time I went. I I record audio a lot when I go to these haunts, because technically nobody ever tells you you're not supposed to. And I have done that every time, and I still do. But for future reference, ask before you do it, I guess. It's probably a good idea.
Now's the time for Jeremy to admit something. How many times have I told you that?
Every time, but I do what I want.
So, apologies to any haunt that he has recorded audio without your knowledge.
I don't put all the audio in my defense.
Okay, true. But at the same time, it is better to ask for permission than to get called out later, as you experienced tonight.
I thought the saying was it's better to ask for forgiveness rather than permission.
Well, in terms of people's creativity, it's along the same lines of plagiarism. And here at the Terror Talks, we don't do plagiarism.
I have plagiarized nothing.
It's along the lines of it, though. Don't make me fight you.
I will fight you.
Anyway, my absolute favorite part of that entire experience was the trail. Obviously, Flatulence the Ass Clown was very awesome. He was a very good guide. He was really funny. I will say there was a couple times where he kind of left us in the dust, and your girl got bad knees, so...
But that's pretty typical. Every time I've been there, he tends to do that because they're trying to just keep it steady moving.
And understandable, like, you want to keep your groups going. We ended up coming on a pretty decent night where there wasn't many people. But I can see why you would want to walk a little bit faster. Number one, because he's done it a million times, and I mean, I get that. Number two, so that you can, like, be a driving force and keep your groups moving. Because you don't want to make people wait way too long to go through these trails and everything. And plus, I mean, I will say this, and it is not knocking anything about this haunt when I say it. The sets are small out on the trail because you're walking through them. There's not a lot of time to sit and look at things like as if you were going through a haunt. It's more like, okay, well, we're stopping, we're in a scene, we're going. Understandable, as I said. So I can understand why he'd be going a little bit faster because sets are kind of small. But that's because you're steadily walking through them. You don't have a lot of time to really look at anything. The interactive part that I got to do was a lot of fun.
And if you watch the video, you will get to see it.
Definitely. I will say the direction was a little bit fuzzy for me, but it may be because I'm kind of dumb.
It's definitely because you're dumb.
Do you want to die?
Yes.
I'm just kidding. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Jeremy, be scared.
And just like that, we're blocked.
We do not condone violence. It's all joking matters, I promise.
No, we condone horror violence.
We condone fake violence. Fake.
AI generated.
As in not for real.
Does not exist.
But, like I said, direction could have been a little bit better on that piece. But again, it may have been a user era versus like a set era. I guess it'd be a set era, wouldn't it?
I guess.
Because they're part of the set at that point.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. All
Do
in
we?
all, great experience, lots of fun. 10 out of 10 would do it again.
Absolutely, but we don't do 10 out of 10 rating scale, so...
It's a saying.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Don't make me fight you.
Too late. Any whoosies. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any favorite part for me in this haunt without giving anything away. That's a toughie, because there's a lot of really good parts. And what's funny is, like, what was my favorite part before is not my favorite part anymore. There was a really cool effect, and honestly, it's one of the first things you'll see in the main haunt, in the inside portion.
Yes, and unfortunately, because we didn't realize that was one of the places that we could record, we didn't get the first half of it where you could see it. But you will get some of the effect.
Yes. And I will not say what the effect is, because I really would love for you to go check it out for yourself. But all I will say is...
Little Red, the girl that was in the group with us, I'm going to call her Little Red because she was the little redhead that they were picking on. Little Red dropped to the floor at this point.
Oh, did she?
Yes, she did.
I didn't even notice. I was too busy taking it all in. So I was like, holy shit, that was cool. Because I've never... I get that the effect was probably the simplest effect in the world. But... And without talking too much about it, like, you have no idea what I'm talking about at home. But I'd never seen it before, and the way they made it work was so... I think I know how they did it, but it was still so fucking cool. So it was like, oh, so awesome. But I think that was my favorite part.
Here's the part where Ansley's kind of a bitch.
Don't be too much of a bitch.
I'm not going to be too much of a bitch. I'm just constructive criticism. So, in this part that he is talking about, the actor that is in there has a prop, and there is, if you looked up a little bit further to right about where the top of the wall that we were walking past was, you would have seen that he has actually busted holes in the wall.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so if you're gonna have actors that have props that are allowed to do that, I would reinforce the walls if possible. I know that is not always like a possibility because maybe this piece of the actual set that we are seeing is something that is gonna hinder that, or maybe this actor may be just a little bit stronger than he realizes. But I hate to say it, and I did love the effect that he is talking about a lot, but it did take me out of the scene to see the hole in the wall from the prop. And I know what it is from because as a scare actress, I understand that some of these walls are a little bit thinner than we think they are. I have put holes in walls too. And they have climbed my ass about it, and I am still living with the trauma from getting yelled at for that, because a lot of all haunt owners are the haunt is basically their baby. They really love their haunts. They love having people go through them, and you want to take care of things. So maybe reinforce the wall if you are going to have an actor that has a prop that is allowed to use it on your set, like physically use it on your set. That's all I really got to say, and it broke my heart to see that.
Alright, so now it comes down to rating the house.
I'm going to give them a 4.5 out of 5.
Alright. And I am going to give them a 4 just because I think that it could have... There are some places where I could see some more improvements being made, and I'd like to see some more.
That's why I took that half point off.
Well, maybe I'm more of a bitch than you.
You are a bitch.
But in any case, that means it's a grand total of... Drumroll, please. 4 screams. So be sure to go check out Dark Castle Haunted Attractions this haunted season in Elgin, South Carolina. And be sure to let them know that the Terror Talk sent you.
Oh, she's a runner. She's a runner. Yeah. And you're blonde.
She's actually redhead.
Actually, kind of, yeah, but in the summer it goes blonde, does it not?
No, she's red. I'm a ginger.
Oh, yeah. That's why you run. Absolutely. When you finish inside, you will go to Zombie Zone. Pew, 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 pew. Shoot zombies next. All right. So excited.
so excited.
Oh my gosh, where am I? Hi, I'm Helen. Who are you?
Jeremy.
Jeremy! And friends, you brought friends.
I brought lots of friends.
You did bring lots of, are they friends or sacrifices?
Sacrifices, I don't know them.
Sacrifices? Oh, no.
Jeremy.
Jeremy?
I'm sorry.
Best friends.
It's okay. It's okay. So you guys came to find the Candyman, right?
Yes.
Yes. He says yes.
I speak for us all now.
So, that means one of two things. You either know who he is and you think he's really cool, or you have no idea who I'm talking about.
None.
I know who he is.
No,
you know who he is?
I know who
no,
he
you
is.
don't.
You know who he is? Okay. Well, come with me. Let's see. Come on.
If I say his name 5 times, are you going to show up?
Yeah!
Oh.
You do know who he is!
No,
Yeah!
Something's not right. You need to run back there. There's a fallout shelter. Go.
Get in the fallout shelter!
Go.
It's in the fallout shelter! What are y'all doing? Where did you go?
I think she went to the other room. Close the door.
What?
So, I want to go get our security guard.
How did I get trapped with y'all?
Bob. Sorry, Jeremy. Handle everything. Don't panic. Don't panic. Okay, now we can get our picture. Don't panic.
Honey, I hope you're okay over there.
Oh my goodness, I found you. It's okay.
Survivors!
Okay, I'm here to help. Why are you alone here? I'm here to help. I need pets. People forget the existence of zombies. I sabotaged their facility. Don't you get it? Easy life is a scam. They're gonna turn you into zombies and sell to the celebrities. That's what they do. I agree. But don't worry, I released all the zombies.
You have a thing there.
What?
It's not working.
No, he's not a zombie. He's not a zombie. He's our friend. He's our friend.
Let us out! Hey, y'all leaving us now.
Hi.
Hi.
What's up?
Yo. Nothing.
Did you kill some zombies down there?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I good.
Who was screaming like a girl when they were coming out of there? Uh-huh. I figured that. So, how's everyone this evening? We good?
A little sweaty, but...
No shit, this damn humidity here. All right, you all right back there, sir? All right. Well, you look like you like it in the rear. I just want to make sure you're all right where you're at.
Oh, me too.
This isn't confessional, okay? You don't have to share everything, bitch, all right? Man!
I know he did get waxed earlier, so...
Jesus Christ. All right. So, we're about to enter into the realm of the Dark Knight. In order to get there, we have to go through this device right here. This device is not a mechanical device. No. It's more mystical, if you know what I'm saying. So, it's very dark inside. When you get in there, I don't want to see any light-emitting displays of any kind. No cell phones, no flashlights, any of those glow-breaking, sticky things. And if you got the damn shoes with the blinking lights in them, I'm going to cut your feet off before you go inside. You looked at your feet. Do you own a pair of the shoes? Then what the hell you looking at your feet for? To think the damn shoe fairy come out there and say, you know what she needs with that outfit? She needs a pair of them blinking light shoes. Jesus, you're a real winner, aren't you? Yeah, you got some beautiful eyes, though.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, when I look into them, I can see the back of your head. All right, so I'm gonna open this door. What is that sound coming out of her? You'll be all right. All right. I'd hate for you to have convulsing. I'd have to give you mouth-to-mouth recreation. She can't even catch her breath right now. All right, so I'm going to open this door. There's a little wall in there. You're going to walk around the wall to the center of the room and wait.
You know who he reminds me of?
I feel like it is.
If you say Ronald McDonald, I'll put my foot up your ass.
Captain Spaulding.
We have a Captain Spaulding around here. All right. So you made it out the first one, all right? My name is Flatulence the Ass Clown, and I'll be your first guide along the trail here today. The reason why they call me the Ass Clown is because I do funny things to assholes. Don't be one, and funny things won't happen to you, okay?
Okay.
All right. Here at the Dark Knight's territory, we have 3 rules. Rule number 1, when I walk, you
walk.
Hey, man, God, you're smarter than you look, all right? In your case, that's a winner, okay? Number 2, when I talk, keep it down to a low murmur. I'm usually louder than most people here anyway. Here's your one and only safety tip for the Dark Knight's territory. If you see me Running? You need to put asses and elbows in the wind, because something done happened out here was not supposed to. And if I were you, I'd follow me, because I know where the hell I'm going, and I'll get us all out of here safely. Right?
Right.
Yes. All right. Here we go. Your treaters here, ma'am.
Oh, why aren't they wearing costumes?
I think that's a costume of sort. I hope she doesn't go out in public dressed like that, but you know, hey. Yeah, I agree.
How
that's
are you
okay.
doing? Doing well. Good.
So what do you tell somebody when you're wanting candy from them?
Trick or treat!
No shit. Jesus Christ.
Good job. I have a giant Twix bar right here.
Yeah. I don't think Twix comes from the factory, whether it's left or right, with duct tape.
I haven't done anything to it.
I don't. You said you'd take it.
Candy's candy.
Oh my God!
You
sure you haven't showed up on a milk carton somewhere? God! All right.
Flatulence? Is this the place we want to be right now?
You know what? I'm thinking the same damn thing. I'm telling you. Hey guys.
I can't find my friends.
You can't. You got friends?
They read this book and I can't find them.
Read what book? The one with the damn face on it? Are you a moron? Come on, move forward, Jesus. You know, Grandma was slow, but she was dead. All right.
Liquid witchcraft?
Oh.
Maybe a good luck charm for the rest of your journey?
Yes.
Yes, please. A fortune told by yours
You don't
truly.
need a good luck charm.
I would like one, please.
Yes, I love it.
Oh.
Not too close, you'd lose your eyebrows, I would know.
Oh, shit.
Now on to the next haunt, right after a word from our sponsors.
Are you a haunt owner looking to spice up your haunted attraction this year? Or maybe just a neighbor who loves to turn their home into a scene fit for a horror movie? No matter the case, our friends at Haunted FX Props can help turn your Halloween vision into a living nightmare. These horrifying geniuses specialize in building haunted house props, lighting for your haunted attraction, and designing haunted houses and escape rooms that are sure to keep your fans coming back for more. How much is it? Well, your prices will vary based on the services provided for your haunt. So get in touch with them today to set up what you need. You can visit them today at their Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok by simply searching Haunted FX Props. To not only get in contact with them, but also to see some of the work that they do, or you can visit them at their website, www.hauntedfxprops.com. You can also personally contact them by emailing them at info@hauntedfxprops.com, or you can call them directly at 706-799-5382. Again, that is 706-799-5382. Anytime from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday. So be sure to contact Haunted FX Props today to make sure your haunt can be the absolute best it can be.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, on this episode of the Terror Talks. Before the break, you got to hear all about Hall of Horrors, located in Cayce, South Carolina. And then you got to hear about Dark Castle Haunted Attractions, located in Elgin, South Carolina. Now, we're going to talk about two more haunts for the evening, rounding out our 4-haunt evening up in South Carolina tonight. Originally, earlier in the episode, you heard we were going to do 5. We did, unfortunately, we were not able to do 5 as we thought, just due to time constraints. So, have a nice even 4. I think that's quite fair. Plus, one of them we've been to 1,000,001 times, so it was like, you know what, whatever. We just won't go to that one this time. And we'll do the ones that would be new to Ansley. So, everything was new to her tonight. It was great. So, just to give a little disclaimer here before we go into reviewing. The order that we did do the haunts in this evening was Hall of Horrors, Dark Harvest, Dark Castle, Haunted Attractions, Cedar Creek Haunted Trail, and then Scream Makers LLC. But in terms of reviewing them, we wanted to go out on a good note and make sure the episode ended on a high. So because of that, we're going to be doing this slightly out of order, and we're going to talk about Scream Acres before we talk about Cedar Creek. So we're just going to dive right in with it. So first and foremost, Scream Acres is right up the street. It's right there in Bishopville, South Carolina, located with Cedar Creek Haunted Trail and Creepy Hollow. And in our video episode, you'll see where I mentioned that we kind of have this little haunt hub right there in Bishopville. In fact, all along I-20 heading up that way, you're going to get a million different haunts. You've got Dark Castle, you've got the little trifecta of Cedar Creek, Creepy Hollow, and Scream Acres. And then we found out from the owner of Cedar Creek that if you literally kept on going, you were eventually going to come to another one called Fletcher Farms, which is another one that's on the list that we might get to try and hit this year. But we're not talking about them yet. But right there in Bishopville, you've got this wonderful little hub of haunts and things to do. And they're all different in their own different, unique little ways. Unfortunately, some are better than others. And some are really, really great, have some great highs, and other ones have some lows. And, you know, things that everyone needs to work on. Unfortunately for us, Scream Acres fell into that category of not being so great. Definitely a lot of things that we need to talk about in terms of the actors and things like that, things you're going to experience while you are here. First and foremost, you show up, it is advertised as this great haunted house with the haunted hayride and even a walking trail as well. And all of that is well and good. There's so much to cover. I mean, you will spend a good hour there doing all of that, not including the standard wait time that you may or may not wait in, depending on if you get regular admission or a fast pass. It could go either way. But there's a lot to see, a lot to do, but there are definitely some lows on it. I think the biggest thing for me in terms of Scream Acres is truly, in the terms of actors, just a lack of professionalism. It was...
That's putting it lightly.
Yeah, it was very rough in some places while we were there in terms of the professionalism level. Actors were just... It just seemed like they really did not care. And Ainsley's going to touch a lot more on this. I'm really going to let her sort of just rip into it. I just wanted to get a couple of my thoughts in before she takes over the reins. One of the things that I experienced the last time I went to this haunt was we had an actor jump on the hayride, take off his mask, and break character and rode alongside of us. And we sort of kind of had that happen tonight. There was a inebriated character on our ride with us, and you could tell he was super inebriated or he was just...
No, he said he drank an entire 12-pack.
Okay, so he was drunk off his ass. Got it. He, at one point, there was a Terrifier character on the haunted hayride, and when we got to him, this guy was like, he was jumping out of his seat on the hayride and like, oh my gosh, I love you. And the character told him to sit down. He was pointing at his seat like, sit down. And drunken man eventually did, or drunken dude, college kid, whatever, did. But then at the end of the segment of the haunt, well, for one thing, it seemed like all of the clowns in that particular part of the haunt only interacted with him and nobody else. Like, they were all around him. They left the rest of the hayride out. We were not getting anything, any type of experience. Quite disappointing. But I digress. But the point is, after that had happened, we moved on a little bit from, like, we started to leave the sector, and the actor sat down on the bench, took off his mask, and gave it to... Two of them took off masks. And one of them gave the mask to the kid to put on the mask. A customer putting on a mask, that is a huge no-no, and the character was breaking character. I mean, that cannot happen. That's not okay. So in terms of professionalism, that really was disappointing. And there was a lot of times out on the hayride and the trail that actors were breaking character left and right, and just, it was clear that they were there more for just a good time, some laughs, whatever. It was not that they were not trying to get scares. It wasn't great. And, I don't know if these actors are paid or volunteer. To me, that doesn't make a difference. I think you should give the same amount of effort no matter what you do. Like, give it 110, because at the end of the day, people are still paying money to come and experience this. And if you're acting a fool and acting like you just don't give a shit, well, that's killing your employer right there. So like I said, I don't know one way or the other, but it really just, it came across as very, very, very unprofessional, and just was not a great experience for us in terms of acting etiquette. So that's really like I said, I'm just getting started, or we're just getting started on this. Ansley's going to have a whole lot more to say about this, because she was not happy leaving there. A lot of things just didn't make sense for me going through it. Music choices were just really shitty music choices, in my opinion. They didn't match the vibe. It just, like, it was clear that it was more so, let's get people hyped rather than scare them. And it was just like, really, like, that just was not good. It was not great. I will say there were some very redeeming moments, some great set work throughout both the haunt and throughout the hayride itself. But, I mean, there was also some really big dead spaces. The walking trail part, honestly, that, if I'm being completely honest, that was the biggest fucking waste of my time ever, because there was nothing to scare us. The two actors that were there trying to scare us were literally sitting there, and one of them was just farting. And those were the only two actors we saw out there. Now, I get it, we came at closing time, so that could have had something to do with it. Actors could have gone home, but it just, you could tell people were either they're not trained properly or they were not giving it their all. I don't know which. There was not really any great moments. I think literally at this point, the best thing we can say about this haunt is thank God that they invested in chainsaws, because those were the only moments where that haunt was worth going to, was when the chainsaws came out. But Screamakers, y'all, that was a rough one. That was a very, very rough one. For me, the second time around, and it was not any better than the first. And I give all the props in the world to the owner. I mean, she is a stand-up gal, and she was very kind to us, very gracious to us, to let us come out there, and met with us and spoke with us before we got in there. But there's some things that got to change, and that's all I can say. It just was not great. So I'm going to turn it over to Ansley now, and let her share her 2 cents on Screamakers LLC.
Alright, so I'm going to begin by saying that I have heard about this haunt, and it was talked up to me. And I was very excited to, hear that we were even going to this haunt. And it really, I rarely ever get pissed off about a haunt being bad. I am the type of person where I can find humor in anything, and I can find a way to enjoy just about anything. But I hate to say it, but by the second scene in the hayride, I was like, are we almost done? Because I am ready to go. I do not want to be here anymore. This is the worst fucking haunt I've ever been to. And Before I go any further, props to the owner. I feel like she really does try, and she was very gracious and very kind to us. And I am not trying to badmouth. I am just trying to give a little bit of constructive criticism. But I'm about to have to be a bitch. And Jeremy did explain to her while we were getting the tickets that I'm going to be brutally honest. Because I'm not the type of person to hold back. And like I said, this haunt had been on my list for a minute. But I should have known when I walked into the very first haunt scene from the haunted house part where you go through the queue line, and that was actually really cool. That was very smart to have the actual haunt be a part of the queue line. That way it'll give you a little something extra to do as you're going into the midway to go into the hayride. But I walked in to the very first scare zone in this haunt and immediately saw 2 water bottles. And that's just the very first room that I walked into. Not to mention, we got boos or elementary scares. Our boos, our rars, our get outs, our help me's. When I tell you this haunt has hit every single pet peeve I have in a haunted house, and even created some I did not even know I had. I was so incredibly upset going through this haunt. Like, then I hit the second room. More water bottles. Actors being lazy. And I was very nice about it. I kind of casually said something about the water bottles, because sometimes when you do that, the actors will immediately be like, oh, I didn't know my water bottle was there. Because, I mean, I have done that too. A group comes in and you're not exactly ready for them. You just kind of toss your water bottle wherever you can find a spot. I get that. You try your hardest to keep water bottles out of the scene. Sometimes it happens. I get that. And that was at the point I was trying to be really, really nice. The haunt part itself was very blah. Very mid. Oh, yeah, cute. Haha, haunted house. That's it. Then you go through the rest of the queue line to get into the midway. And at first glance, it looks like there could be a lot to do. No midway actors. Absolutely none. There is 3, maybe 4 photo ops. 2 of them are just kind of backdrop walls. And then 2 of them actually have things going on. Like, one of them's like a fireplace or something with the haunt logo on it. And then the other one is like a bench where you and your group can sit and get a picture together. And that was it. They had some props hanging here and there. They had a bar, a little stand area where you could get merch, and then they had a food truck. And we were kind of, as we said, we were hitting a lot of haunts tonight. And with this one being the last one we went to tonight, because we were going and going and going, we didn't have time to stop and get something to drink. And we were like, okay, well, we'll stop at this one. It's the last one. We've already planned to not go to the other one we were going to go to tonight. So we'll just get something to drink here, and we'll be fine. The only thing they had to drink was Pepsi. I don't drink Pepsi. But that was literally the only drink they had.
And they were advertising that there was lemonade.
The only drink they had. And I get it. We're like the last ones of the night. Sometimes either you run out or you buy a certain amount of stock for each night. I get that. It's just how you run the business. But they didn't even have waters. That is literally all I wanted, was a bottle of water. And I can't put that on them because, like I said, it was a food truck. But the bars that they owned didn't even have water. So Midway let me down. And if you have listened to my personal reviews, you know I love my Midways. I absolutely love when a Midway is done and there is lots to take pictures of and with, and there's lots of actors, and there's a lot of fun stuff that you can do while you're waiting for maybe lines to go down. We sat stagnant in the Midway for almost 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Waiting on the hayride line to go down. And then when we finally got into line, we waited another 5-ish minutes. So that's about 15 minutes of just sitting stagnant. Nothing to do. Nothing to really look at that we haven't looked at for all of that 15 minutes. They did have monitors in the queue line for the hayride that had one of the Texas Chainsaw movies, but they didn't hit play, so it was just the DVD option screen on repeat. And it wasn't even a good Texas Chainsaw. And again, everybody who knows me knows I absolutely love Texas Chainsaw. Very, very much. It is my favorite horror movies franchise of all time. I have a tattoo on my arm from it. I've got The Mask. I've got chainsaws on my wall. I've got posters. I've got blankets and all kinds of stuff. It is one of my absolute favorites, and I hate that one. Sorry, went off on a little tangent. But honestly, if I had to choose one of the Texas Chainsaw movies to be cut completely, it would be that one. At least play the classic one. But be that as it may, I understand, last one of the night. You may not even hear this segment. Jeremy may cut it out in post. But I said what I said. Anyway, so we finally get loaded onto the hayride. And there is so much dead space. You were sitting in a trailer in the middle of the night, in the middle of the forest, almost pitch black dark. Nothing but, trees around you. And then all of a sudden, you come up on a sign that you can barely see. I don't even think Jeremy saw it at all. But it's a railroad crossing sign. And then they blow a horn right there at your head. I hate train horns. They are very effective scares. I will give them that. I just think they're super overused. They are super loud. They can actually damage people's hearing, this, that, and the other. Not a big fan of them. They give me PTSD from working at my home haunt that I'm not going to mention because that's irrelevant. And then we just kept going into an empty scene, no actors. It's lit up, but we just go straight through it. Don't stop, there's no actors, nothing is going on in this scene at all. It's just lit up. And we go back into the darkness. And then we go to the first scene. And I felt like I was in high school again. Because they're playing club music, basically. Teenage club music from when I was a teenager. And that was supposed to be their opening scene. And I cannot express to you how much that pissed me off. Ooh, I'm trying to be super nice. I really am. I know it is not my job to be nice, but I really do try to be very, very nice when I'm giving, like, my experience. At that point, if they would have stopped and said, if anybody would like to get off and just cut it here, I would have got my happy ass off that trailer and walked to the fucking car. I had enough there. And then we would go through scenes where there was nobody there. Like it looked like it was supposed to be a scene where people would come out and they'd get on the trailer with you and they would scare you and do all kinds of stuff. Yeah. But we would just roll straight through them. Beautiful scenes. Absolutely beautiful scene work. But if I'm not getting to enjoy that, if I'm just driving past it and it's just like, oh, well, there's that. Oh, well, it's gone now. And then back into the dark. Then what is the point? And, okay, I get, it was late. Maybe some of the actors left. But you cannot, it's like teasing somebody. It's like holding something out in front of somebody and being like, ooh, look what I've got. Oh, no, you can't have it, though. Then you go into another scene. More fan service. And I'm going to call it that. Because, like, I understand when the term fan service is used, it is usually to, like, talk about attractive characters in, like, movies, mainly anime. But it was literally like high schoolers in a way. Like, it's kind of hard to describe. It was like if a bunch of high schoolers got together and made a shitty haunted house with good sets. The acting was horrible. I absolutely cannot stand, really cannot stand when somebody breaks character. You can throw me through a coochie hallway. You can, booze and roars all you want. Water bottles in every scene, as long as you don't break character for me. And every single one we were getting, how y'all doing tonight? I'm not at a concert. I am at a haunted house. One that I traveled a long way to come see. And if you were not going to give me that haunted house experience, why am I here? And that was my thought the entire time. Why am I here? Why am I here? What is going on here? There's Backstreet Boys playing in one of these haunts. And I get, sometimes you want to like, oh, okay, well, we're going to change the music up like suddenly and give you that little shock. Pick something better. I absolutely love the Backstreet Boys. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't belong in a haunt setting. Club music doesn't belong in a haunt setting. Country music doesn't belong in a haunt setting. If you are going to use music in your haunt instead of sound effects, you need to make it fit the scene. Backstreet Boys in a clown house is not fitting the scene. Jelly Roll in an old western area that does not fit. Besides the fact that we kept having the actors jump onto the trailers and ride with us halfway to the next area before jumping off and walking back and taking off their mask, like Jeremy said, letting somebody on the trailer, customers, put on your mask. As a scare actress, that made me cringe. Don't touch my mask. I'm not going to hand you my mask. Because number one, if I'm wearing that mask, it's going to be covered in sweat and, you know, drool from me screaming. Or, like, if I had makeup on, it's going to have my makeup on it. Like, there's all kinds of bodily fluids and stuff that are on that mask. And not to mention, you're on a trail outside. It's hot outside. Your sweat is not going on my face, and my sweat should not go on your face. It's a germ thing. And yes, okay, Ansley's a germaphobe in this moment. I get that. Whatever. Y'all can pick on me if y'all want. But it is disgusting. It grossed me out. And I don't know if they were friends or whatever. But when two different scare actors pull their mask off, one of them lets one of the customers put it on, and the other one's sitting here on his phone next to somebody and talking in a regular voice and is basically just riding on the trail with us, not even doing his job. I got a problem with that. And then the part where we got off and walked into another little mini haunted house that was inside of the hayride, I was not vibing with it. Because first off, these trailers hold comfortably about 30 people. Well, give or take. Because I made sure to ask some of the workers there about it. And they told me they usually average about 30 people on a trailer. They stopped us after we got off of the trailer to walk through. And we were all in this big congealed group. And that is a lot of people to try to talk over. And so you cannot effectively get your rules out to these people. Not to mention, teenagers are going to be teenagers. They're going to be loud. They're going to be obnoxious. They're going to do it whenever they want. So if you've got a group of teenagers in the back next to two people that are trying to hear these rules, these two people are not going to be able to hear it. And what if you're saying something that I don't know, that I need to know, and I cannot hear you? So that situation needed remedied. Not to mention, the security on this part of the trail sucked. Absolutely sucked. Because the young man that was drunk on our trailer with us me and Jeremy went and got in the back of the group, and we were gonna, hang back a little bit and, let those groups go because we'd all been congealed onto that trailer, and, rowdy young man, very drunk. Anyway, so we're walking, and this kid just pulls out, and pisses on the fucking, in the middle of the pathway. Just whips it out and pisses in the pathway. Right in front of us. Nobody stopped him. He continued to go through the haunt with us. And then they ran up to catch up with the rest of their group after Sir had relieved himself. And it was like the scare actors gave up when it came to me and Jeremy. We had one scare actor sitting on the ground, making fart noises with his mouth, and going, somebody farted. Somebody farted. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's totally fucking scary. That is worth what these tickets cost. Totally worth it. Anyway, But, you know, had some rowdy-ass teenagers go in front of us, so, hey, he may have been their friend. I'm not going to put that piece against the entire haunt, even though I have more than enough reason to. So, then we go in, and actors are just casually walking by us. Nothing. There was 2, maybe 3 scare actors in that small haunt. Shout out to you guys for at least trying. But until we got to them, nothing. Absolutely nothing. There was actors sitting down. There was actors leaning against the wall. There was actors kind of just walking past us. Oh well, here's 2 more people of this group we're supposed to be scaring. I'm not going to give them any energy. I'm not even going to pay them attention. Oh well. Then we get to these 3, and they jump out and scare Jeremy. Cool. Thanks, guys, for trying. Climb up a bunch of stairs, whatever, go down this bus. And I know I preach a lot about sometimes littles do not belong in haunts and blah, blah, blah. And I have also said in the past that if you are going to have littles, buses are the best place to have them if they have the seats, because there's a lot more areas for these littles to be that is where they can scare your patrons, but they can also be safe themselves. But there was a little on this bus that they were kind of using like a ramp, which very interesting idea. I did like that. But he was hanging in the steps. Like he was hanging off the pole right in front of the steps into the area where you would step down. And you basically had to like shove yourself into the corner on these narrow ass bus steps to get around him. And I did casually say, hey, you're kind of in the way. He didn't move. He was like 10 years old. So, I mean, I get it. Little kid mentality. Oh, I don't care if I'm in the way. I'm supposed to be scaring you. And if you're having to go around this scary character, oh well, cry about it. But at the same time, that's not only hazardous to your patrons, but also that little. Which, again, I don't know, they could have told him, hey, stay off of this, and he just didn't listen, or what, or they just gave him free range, and that's what he decided to do. If he gets hurt, oh well. If they get hurt, oh well. I don't know. I'm just saying that it's not very safe for them or us, but all in all, the set work was great. The set work was beautiful. I have except for the midway, I have nothing bad to say about the set work itself, except for maybe the water bottles, but that's not exactly a set problem, that's more of an actor problem. And I feel like that they used a lot of chainsaws to remedy the fact that there was a lot of dead space and there was really shitty acting. I'm gonna put it point blank. The acting was shitty. It was awful. And again, I'm not trying to badmouth. I know it sounds like I am, but I really was super excited about this haunt. And they didn't drop the ball. They took and dug a 6-foot hole and put it in a fucking coffin and buried it. Had a whole funeral and everything. They didn't drop the ball. They absolutely murdered it. And not in a good way. So, enough of Ansley tearing this poor haunt a new asshole. Again, to the owner, thank you for being so gracious to us. We really do appreciate it. And I hate that I am having to be the bad guy. But I cannot, in good conscience, go through a hunt and review them and say, oh, they're good, when they're not. So, my apologies. If I am hurting your feelings, I really don't mean to. But my personal experience, it was awful. I know that we're probably going to end up giving them another chance. I'm not excited to go back at all. And with that, I'm going to give it back to Jeremy.
All right, well, it comes down to the time where we rate that haunt. So for me, I'm giving it a big fat 1. You know what? I'll be nice. I'll give it a 2. Only because while things were very rough in terms of the professionalism and the actors and things of that nature, they at least had their sets and their special effect type stuff. You know, they had some fire in places and things like that. And they had things working like that. And that at least will get them a 2 from me. So I give them a 2. Ansley?
I am about to be the biggest bitch. I'm giving them a 1. The only reason I am giving them a 1, because if I was going solely based off of the experience I would have had as a patron, they would have gotten a 0.5 from me. Because I can't give lower. But the sets were absolutely beautiful. And the owner, bless her heart, she is a very sweet, very wonderful woman. And I am really sorry I had to tear her haunt apart like I did. But again, I cannot, in good conscience, give somebody something they do not deserve. So, it is going to be a 1 for me.
Alright, so, a 2 from me, a 1 from Ansley. And that means Screamakers, LLC, is a grand total of, drumroll please, 2 screams. They basically were saved by me giving them a 2. So yeah, Screamakers LLC is a 2 scream rated haunted attraction by us here at the Terror Talks. We encourage you to go check them out for yourself. Because like we say, all of our stuff is constructive criticism and they're purely our opinions. So you may agree with them, you may disagree with them, and we totally want you to go and...
We invite you to disagree with us.
Yes. But I will not in good conscience be like, absolutely go there, publicly endorse this haunt, because it really was not great. And that's all there is to say about it. But if you agree with us or disagree with us, go check out Screamakers LLC, located in Bishopville, South Carolina. So now we come to our 4th and final haunt of the evening.
My favorite one of the 4 we went to tonight.
Yes, to end on a high, Cedar Creek Haunted Trail. So this is really your typical backyard haunt. It is old school. It is the type of haunt that you might see in your neighborhood, done by the neighborhood kids for absolute fun kicks. It's great. And I went there several years ago for the first time, had an absolute blast, got to meet so many cool people, and totally found them by accident that year, and had the awesome experience of doing their haunt, reviewing it, and having an amazing time. And this year was absolutely no exception, because they have expanded, they've done some really cool things. I do have some things that I definitely can point out that, you know, would love to see some improvements and work on. And one of the beautiful things, this is one haunt that I will straight up say, the owners listen, and they listen to every word that we've said. Because the last time I went there, I made certain notes about it, and even had the owner's son come out to me and straight up was like, you heard how I listened to your review, and I did this, like I changed this like you said I should. So they're listening, and they're taking our advice. And so I love that this is a haunt that is actually taking the advice of its patrons.
Yeah, this is why we do what we do. It's not 100% just tearing you apart just to do it. Like, it is constructive criticism. We love giving constructive criticism as two that are going through your haunt. And hey, well, okay, so I know when I worked in a haunt that this, and this were the best ways that I could run it, or this needed to be better in this haunt. So if you have the same thing and this is how we fixed it, I could tell you how to fix it. Or, hey, I was a patron and I would love to just see this. Or, like, oh, this took me out of the experience a little bit. And giving you that criticism so that you could be the best you can be.
Right, absolutely. And, like, this team absolutely listens to every piece of constructive criticism that we give them. So, Cedar Creek Haunted Trail, like I said, typical backyard type of haunt, and yet on a professional scale, too. Like, they do some really unique things that I know for a fact I've never seen before in a haunt. One really cool highlight that I just got to mention is this haunted RV.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see... I don't think I've ever gone through an RV in a haunted house before. And the fact that they were able to manipulate this RV into essentially another building for the haunt, like, that was a really cool trick to have it done that way.
Yeah, we've seen sheds, we've seen pole barns, we've seen cattle chutes. I have never seen an RV be used in a haunt.
Yeah, and the way that it was done was so very well done as well, that it just worked. I had no issue with it. One of my big highlights of this haunt is the fact that they play very much into my favorite horror movie, Halloween. And it's the first thing you walk in. Michael Myers is there. He's ready to greet you at the door. And, oh my God, they do such a great job. One of the coolest things, I think, and like I said, I don't think this gives anything away. It actually, it gets you prepped, ready for this moment. When you're walking through the Myers house, they have these really neat, we call them boo holes or hidey holes, but they have little secret passages for the guy playing Michael Myers. He can slip into them and then appear somewhere else in the haunt, like right in front of you, almost just reminiscent of how he is in the movie. He has, like, he's here one moment and then he's here another moment, like he's jumping all around.
He's kind of like teleporting in a way.
Right, and so they have essentially created that illusion by making these little hidey holes and secret passages that make it so Michael is literally teleporting all over the house and cutting you off in place. Like, honestly, one actor can run that whole front house by himself, and he does. And it's so impressive. Like, I remember that was the big thing that scared the shit out of me the first time I went there. Like, it was absolutely incredible. There's a lot of really incredible moments on this trail. I think there are some places I'd like to see a little bit more work be done, maybe build it up a little bit. For example, it's like the second thing you go into. I wasn't really entirely sure on what that was exactly. I would have liked to see some more theming there. It's just as you come out of the Myers house and you're in this other building where I actually went the wrong way and ended up inside the scare actor's hidey hole. It was like, oh, wait, I'm in the wrong way. And the actor, I think the actor broke character to tell us, yeah, you went the wrong way.
Yeah, he did. I would have liked to see him do it in character. But sometimes it is hard to do it in character. And yes, this is me being nice. I would have liked to see a little bit more in the
Yeah, but that was explained to us. They had an actor who was supposed to be there tonight, and he had some conflicts come up. So, I mean, I'm not holding that against them.
We're not going to hold that against them because, I mean, schedules... Something that was told to us today that really does make sense, and we do resonate with it, is if a haunt becomes a job, it's no longer fun, and you no longer want to do it. So the fact that things like this happen, I don't remember what they said came up for this specific actor, but it is something that he wanted to do. And sometimes scheduling just doesn't line up. We know that better than anybody. Because, I mean, we have had a lot go on in the last couple of weeks where we have had to plan many a haunt trip around it. So, I mean, we understand that better than anybody. So we're not going to hold that against them. I just would have liked to see a little bit more theming, because I think there was only that one sign. And shout out to that sign, because I know where they got it from. Because I have the same one.
Right. But that whole building after that, I would have liked to have seen more. I'm not really sure, like I said, what it was exactly.
Yeah, I was kind of confused about that myself. Like, was it a metal shop?
I don't know. Hence why we're confused. So we're not really sure what it was supposed to be. I'd like to see some more theming, some more fleshed out, maybe establishment of what it was. Apart from that, everything was really, really well done in this haunt. There's this awesome element at the end with this pitch black maze of wooden walls and doors. And you literally are trying to find your way out in pitch black darkness, and actors are like doing random lights to try and throw you off the path but also lead you along the way. And that was a funny thing I had to explain to Ansley at one point, because she was like, oh, they're telling us to go this way. I'm like, no, they're trying to throw us off the scent too. They're like,
okay, he is trying to make me sound dumber than I am, because he was like, no, they're not telling us to do that. And then I let him lead me to where he thought we should go, and it ended up in a dead end. So, that was not all on Ansley.
yeah, but they weren't always trying to lead us in the right direction either.
Right, but he was telling us to go back the other way because we were at a dead end.
Well,
you were trying to open a door.
True.
Yeah.
Point is, they told us they would try to both help you and also miscommunicate you and lead you down other paths that did not actually lead the way out. I will say the exit was not easy to find. They had to they opened the door for us. Yeah. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to be pushing to find it or not. Thank God there was an actor right there who's like, hey, dumbass, right here.
And they scared the shit out of Jeremy at every turn.
It's true.
Every turn.
There was one moment that, if I'm going to be a little nitpicky, was this really cool sort of hillbilly moment where they had a shotgun and a chainsaw was supposed to rev up, right? Well, the chainsaw, we all know chainsaws can be finicky as all get out. So I don't hold that against them.
Cold-started.
Yeah, it was a cold-started chainsaw, and it was like, oh man, I hate that. But the issue I had was we didn't even really get 2 feet out of the scene, and I could hear the actor behind me taking off his mask and talking about, oh, it didn't start, and talking about it, and I was like, wait till I'm a little
he also
further
broke
ahead.
Character.
Yeah.
He did. Like, while we were still in the scene with him, he did break character, because it is kind of jarring. I've never personally run a chainsaw, but I have had many friends that have actually ran the chainsaws, and cold starting is something that happens more than you know in haunted houses. And it could be anything from not getting enough gas in it, like when you try to start it, if it's that kind of chainsaw, to if it's a battery-powered chainsaw, the battery's starting to go dead, and it's not wanting to, crank all the time.
Yeah.
But he broke character, and he started kind of laughing, because it is very jarring, because you're like, oh, this is going to be a great scare, yeah. And it doesn't doesn't do anything.
Yeah. That's like the worst thing ever in any haunt is when that chainsaw just will not start. You're just like, damn.
And it broke my heart for him, man. I love chainsaws and haunts. I just told Jeremy tonight, chainsaws and haunts are like the duct tape of haunted houses. They're gonna get a lot of people.
Not that this one needed it.
No, but they had 2 of them, so
we'll take it.
We will take it.
But yeah, this haunt, all I can really say is some really cool stuff. Love the use of IP characters in there.
Yes.
Will not specifically name them just for the sake of argument here, but some really cool IP characters that you would recognize.
Yeah. For not giving spoilers' sake, it's one of those where if you are huge fans of those movies, you're immediately going to be like, oh yeah, heck yeah, hell yeah! And I personally love the use of like everyday objects in haunts. If you can find a way to make them fit in your haunt the way they are supposed to, I love everyday objects in haunts. They were kind of like in, not like a farm kind of setting, but they had a lot of farm equipment out there. And they had these big, kind of like propane tanks, but like the big old ones that you would have for your house. And they were using them to make a lot of noise. And that makes a lot of sense. And with them rusted the way they are very good additions to haunts, because the metal they're made out of can take a beating. They look creepy. And it's something that you can go to a junkyard and pick up. And truthfully, that is the only haunt I have seen so far to use those. And I've seen like old bed frames and all kinds of stuff in this haunt. And I was very proud of some of the uses they got out of all these everyday objects. And again, not going to say too much about it because I don't want to give too much away. Even with sets, you don't want to give too much away because, oh, well, if I'm telling you about the sets, and I know how to detail things because I love to write. So if I'm telling you and painting you this mental picture, you're already going to know what is going on in the scene. So, that being said, set work was amazing. And like I said, everybody knows I love backyard haunts. They are my bread and butter. They are my favorite haunts that we go to. I do love the big haunts. But those little backyard haunts that have a lot of heart have my heart.
Yeah, there's not any negatives we can say about Cedar Creek. They really were fantastic. So I think now it is time to rate them. Because like I said, there's nothing but positive to say. I am going to give them, and this may seem a little nitpicky, but like I said, it's just 2 little things I would have liked to have seen fleshed out a little bit better. I'm going to give them a 4, just because of the first sort of building after the Myers house. I would have liked to have seen that more fleshed out, and on top of that, I would have liked for the actor, when the chainsaw broke, to just stick with it, find a way to do something. Don't break character on that. But apart from that, great haunt, definitely worth going to check out. I would go see them again in a heartbeat.
I am going to give them a 4.5. Because I would have went with the 4 because of a couple of the actors breaking character. But there was certain little charming things to me that gave y'all that extra little half. Like the sweet little girl in the clown costume. I think she was my absolute favorite character. So shout out to you, my little. Because that's what you are. You are a little. I saw you doing your little gymnastics over there, and you seem like you really like to haunt. You were playing it up for the camera when we first walked up, and I am very proud of you. And please, please, if you love scaring, keep doing it. That made my heart happy, and all of the actors had a lot of heart, and I cannot go lower than a 4.5.
Yeah. All right. So, doing the math on that, Cedar Creek Haunted Trail is going to get, drum roll please, 4 out of 5 screams. Cedar Creek Haunted Trail is a 4 screams haunted house rated by the Terror Talk. So be sure to go and check them out this haunt season. They are located in Bishopville, South Carolina, right there around that little haunt trifecta, as it were. So be sure to go check them out. That is going to do it for us on today's episode, whenever you're listening to this episode. That's going to do it for the episode today. 4 haunted houses. You've got Hall of Horrors, located in Cayce, South Carolina. You've got Dark Castle Haunted Attractions, located in Elgin, South Carolina. You've got Cedar Creek Haunted Trail, located in Bishopville, South Carolina. And then you've got Screammakers LLC, located in Bishopville, South Carolina. And just to throw it out there, because it is there, and you should check it out if you're going to be in that area anyways, you've also got Creepy Hollow, located in that same area right up the street from Screammakers and Cedar Creek Haunted Trail. So be sure to go and check that out as well, and check them all out. They've all got something different to offer. See if you agree with us on what we said, or maybe you disagree with us. Maybe you absolutely love these haunts that we absolutely hated, or maybe you absolutely hate the ones that we love. Who knows? It's for you to decide. Go check them out yourself. You can go see all of their information in our description below for each of them, their social medias, websites, all that fun stuff to find out about dates, ticketing, times, pricing, all of that fun stuff. But that is going to do it for us on this episode of the Terror Talks, where we had our little South Carolina haunt marathon. So, until next time, be safe out there.
Be excellent to each other.
Don't text and drive. And we'll see you in the fog.
Hey, you guys survived to the end of the show. Congratulations, you're all final girl material. But don't worry, you'll have plenty more opportunities to fall victim to our horrifying creations throughout the season. Afraid to miss out on more content?
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Don't worry, we've got you covered. All you have to do is like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. You can also subscribe to our Libsyn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else podcasts can be found.
Groovy.
Want to keep up with us regularly? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok for all of our social media fun.
Don't fall asleep.
Go check out our website for our written reviews at theterrortalks.wixsite.com.
What are you going to do with those pies, boys?
Want to help us keep the lights from flickering? You can give us a one-time donation of $3 to support the show by visiting glow.fm/theterrortalks. Simply go to that link, and your one-time donation will go back into keeping the show running from Michael, Freddie, and Jason for another day.
Dog will hunt, dog will hunt.
You can also subscribe to our Patreon by going to www.patreon.com/theterrortalks. Once there, you can subscribe to one of our 2 tiers, our lowest tier of $1 a month and our highest tier of $5 a month. That's less than 1 cup of coffee, and it all goes right back into our show. Anything else we're forgetting?
I tell you, Michael Myers is here in this town.
Please give us a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts and let us know that you saw the show. And if there's something you liked or even didn't like, you can also contact us directly at theterrortalks@gmail.com. Well, that does it for this spooky showing. Be safe out there and beware of ghouls, goblins, and monsters. But until next time, happy haunting.